What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our Pac-12 football channel. In our 2019 college football schedule, previews continue with Stanford. You can see the schedule here on your screen. This is a Stanford team that had a little bit of a disappointing season last year, finished 9-4. Didn't quite live up to the expectations that I had for them. Bryce Love obviously did not have a good season. But KJ Costello emerged at quarterback and turned into one of the better quarterbacks really in college football. He is back, but they lose a lot. They lose key players on offense, on the offensive line, linebacker, secondary. Really the main thing they have coming back is KJ Costello at quarterback, and then the defensive line all returns. But other than that, yes, Stanford has a lot of question marks. You kind of think they'll be okay, though. I mean, Stanford's a team that usually is able to kind of reload. Not in a way like that Alabama does, but they usually have guys that come in and they're usually in pretty good shape. So we'll see if that happens again with Stanford this season. I don't expect them to be a playoff contender. I don't really see them being one of the top contenders in the Pac-12 North. But, I think it's at least a bowl team and perhaps an 8-9 win team again in 2019. Again, here's the schedule. It's really interesting. I'm going to say that this is the toughest non-conference schedule that I've seen so far. And I may be wrong there, and we'll compare those at some point. But there's really no easy game in the non-conference. You've got Northwestern, you've got a road game against UCF, and then Notre Dame. So all three of those teams probably going to be in the preseason top 25. Very, very tough non-conference schedule. And then you look at the conference schedule, they actually came out pretty good there because you look at who they play out of the South. They avoid Utah, who I think is the best team in the South, and they get to play Colorado, who I think is probably the worst team in the South. So they did pretty well there, but unfortunately, again, the non-conference schedule is tough. But those are winnable games in the non-conference. It's not like they're playing Clemson and Alabama. Notre Dame could be a stretch, but they get them at home. So it's a really tough schedule, but it's not a schedule that they cannot manage. There's no way that they're going to win these games. You got a lot of big games at home. Northwestern's at home, Oregon's at home, Washington, UCLA, Arizona, Cal, and Notre Dame. And the road games are really USC, UCF. Those will be pretty tough. Colorado, they should be able to win. And Washington State, we don't know how good they're going to be. That could be a winnable game for sure. But the one game you can pretty much guarantee that they're going to win, and that's Oregon State. Oregon State might be a little better this year, but still, I think they're a long ways away from really challenging the top level teams in the Pac-12. Perhaps they could beat a team like Colorado or maybe Cal. I'm not sure how good Cal is going to be, but I don't see Oregon State beating Stanford even at home. Now, upsets happen. There are no guarantees, and it's possible that it will happen, but I feel pretty confident that Stanford's going to win that game. But you look at the rest of the schedule, there aren't any easy wins. There aren't any games where they're going to be big-time favorites. I think they'll be favored against Cal by a touchdown or so. Colorado maybe a touchdown or so, but that's a road game, so that's a little tricky. So when you try to project this record, it really comes down to a lot of games that they could win and a lot of games that they could lose. They're not going to win them all, and they're not going to lose them all. So I think you look at a projected win total somewhere between 6 and 9. I think that's a pretty fair projection for this team. I like them in the Oregon State game, obviously. Right now, I would probably pick them over Colorado, Washington State, and Cal, those 3 games in a row. That gets you to 4 wins. Northwestern, again, at home, a winnable game. UCLA, a winnable game at home. Arizona, a winnable game at home. So that gets you to 7 wins. And then if you can win one of the big games, maybe get to 8, maybe win another one, you get to 9. So I think best case scenario for Stanford is going to be around 9 wins. I don't know if they're going to be able to do much better than that. The one thing, again, they have going for them is that they get a lot of these big games at home. Oregon and Washington in the Pac-12 North, probably going to be the top 2 teams. You get both of them at home, so perhaps Stanford could make a run in that Pac-12 North. If they can win those 2 games, they might could afford a couple of losses to maybe USC or Arizona, or somewhere else in the conference. And they don't even need to win the conference game, the non-conference games, obviously, to get to the Pac-12 championship. So you could be looking at a 7-5 team that plays for a Pac-12 championship. That wouldn't be that crazy, to think that could happen. So that'll be something to watch. Again, the schedule, it's not the toughest in college football, but it's another one of these schedules where there aren't really any easy games. There are no breaks. And I think that makes for a difficult schedule. Sometimes this, to me, is a more difficult schedule than a team that plays 2 top 10 teams but has 3 FCS or group of 5 games that shouldn't be hard, and they play a couple of weak teams in the conference, something like that. I do respect this schedule, and definitely you have to respect the non-conference schedule and the fact that they went out and scheduled Northwestern, UCF, and of course they always play Notre Dame. And you got to also like the Pac-12 plays 9 conference games. Come on, ACC, come on, SEC. You really need to do that, and hopefully one day they will do that. But that's going to do it for this schedule preview. Thank you for watching this video. If you're a Pac-12 football fan, please subscribe to the channel. Leave us your thoughts down in the comments below. And for the latest in Pac-12 football, keep it right here.